Okay, so this week we're going to work on this quilt right here. Now, I call this quilt Midnight at the Pumpkin Patch. I know the colors are a little different, but I fell in love with this fabric and I just needed to do something with it. And so I come across this thought and I just wanted to make a nighttime pumpkin patch. Look at this. Isn't this beautiful fabric? And then I found this to go with it. This was all in my stash. So that's what we're going to work on this week. Midnight at the Pumpkin Patch. I was going to look for a lighter color for my pumpkins, but as you can see, I decided to go with a peachy pink color, and I think I love the way it turned out. Okay, so we have 5 star blocks and 4 pumpkin blocks. Every block will finish at 10 inches. So just take a second here, and I'm going to put up what you're going to need to make the star blocks first, because that's the first thing we're going to work on. We're going to be making 1, 2, 3, 4 flying geese out of the B and C fabrics for every block. So that will be a total of 20 flying geese to finish this project. The thing I like about the block is with this outer edge, it actually makes it look like a border on every block, including the pumpkin block. And I just think the pattern turned out neat. So the first step I think for us to do is to take our B fabrics and our C fabrics, put that on the side, and we are going to chain piece every one of these fabrics in making them a flying geese. Now, to do that, if you've been watching me a while, you should know how to do this, but we're going to talk about it. You're going to take your C fabrics and you're going to turn them upside down, and we're going to sew from corner to corner. Once we get that done, we will cut a 1/4 inch away from the sewn line, and then we will press all this side open, and then we will turn around and do the same exact thing, because this will now look like this, to the opposite corner, and it'll just be that way. Now, we can do this by chain piecing, and I think that will be the most efficient way to do it. So first, let me show you what I'm going to do. So we're just going to draw a line diagonally from corner to corner on all of our C pieces. And then that way we'll have a line to sew on. So guys, I'm going to get all those lines drawn, and then I'll meet y'all back here and we'll get our sewing started. Okay, so I'm all set up here. I have all my diagonals facing in the same direction so I don't get confused as I'm sewing. And I'm just going to start here and begin sewing. I like to sew from a longer side rather than starting at a point. It just makes it usually go better. I can't guarantee that it'll go better. If you had these kind of lines on your sewing machine, you could also just follow the tape. You wouldn't have to draw the diagonal lines. I like drawing the diagonal lines. So just take your time, sew accurately. So the next step before we actually put the block together is we need to take a D block and we need to snowball all 4 corners. Now these are going to overlap. So we're going to do 2 opposing corners, 1 and 2. Then we'll turn it around and we'll iron it just like these over here, and then we'll do the other 2. So let me get these 2 corners sewn on. You set this on the side. I'm just going to do one of these with you. Well, I guess we'll do 2. I'm just going to take my ruler. Let's see. I like this ruler. It has a nice distinctive 1/4 inch seam line that you can see well. I take that 1/4 inch line, lay it on top of the line I just sewn, and I'm going to cut this part away, and that's going to leave me with my 1/4 inch seam allowance. Now I know you've heard me say before, the purpose in doing this is that when you get through sewing this, that your block measures the same size as your original piece that you cut. So it's kind of important that you take your time because you do need that accuracy. So this one we're going to trim both sides. Okay guys, so I'm going to take a couple minutes and get all these trimmed and pressed, and I'll be back to sew them with you. So what we're going to do is we're going to press the flying geese blocks to the outside, okay, toward the light color. And we're going to press the center blocks toward the inside. So we're pressing everything toward your lighter color. So let's get the other side sewn. We'll start with the flying geese. So I like to sew from the center outward. So just make sure you get all lined up nice and straight. It will overlap, should be 1/4 inch right here. I'll start here and work my way that way. Now this one, we're going to do the 2 opposite corners. Again, it will be overlapping. And now let's flip it around here and we'll do the last corner on this piece. Okay, so I'm going to trim these just like we did before. And this will be the last components we will need to actually make the block. Cut that out. Just make sure you're trimming the right ones, the ones you just sewed. Okay, and these two we will be pressing this way towards the light. Yeah, let me just do one of these real quick for you. And again, we will be pressing toward the light. Okay, guys, so I'm going to get all these trimmed and pressed. I'm going to get all my flying geese made and my center blocks, and then we'll come back together and we will put this part of the quilt together, these 5-story blocks. Okay, so this is the block we're looking to make. Star points, just a very nice star. It's not complicated. The main things we have to watch are our points. These 4 and then these 8. Now, some of these are right on and some of these I missed the tip. You know what? I'm not taking it apart. I'm going to do it like it is. Like I said, I don't make quilts for quilt shows. I make quilts because I like the colors and I like the designs. I make them from my personal joy. I'm going to set this aside for just a moment. Oh, listen, must have knocked one of those off. So here is everything that we made. Here's our flying geese. Here's our center. And everything else is just to be added to it. I've got them stacked up here. This will make 4 blocks because I need a total of 5 and 1 has been completed. Now, to put this together, I'm going to take the center out, okay? So we need to make sure when we set this up that all the points, the light color points, are to the outside and the wider part is to the inside, okay? Throughout this entire block, you're going to press everything to your light. So to begin this quilt, we're just going to sew them together in rows. The only thing we really got to watch is when we sew these 4 points to these 4 points, because we'd like it to match as best as we can. Now, in order to do that, what I'm going to do, and I don't know if this is the best way for you. You may have a better way. This is just what I do, so I'm going to show you. I put a pin where this junction happens. Check it on the other side, and it should be coming out right where those two pieces of fabric come together. Then I take that pin and I come to this piece. It doesn't matter which one. These are all the same. And right in the tip, I'm going to put that pin head. Okay? Just like that. Now, I don't want this pin I don't want to twist the pin like that and pin it in, because if I do that, see how off I get in the back? If you can see that. So what I do is make sure that pin is nice and straight. Once I get the pin nice and straight, then I'll match my ends. Guys, I am probably going to use more pins than you can imagine on this particular block, and that's okay. I want it to be as best as I can make it. So now back to the middle. What I want to do is make sure that pin is straight. I'm going to grab another pin and I'm going to go in right next to the seam line and try to come out right where that pin went in. And sometimes it takes a few tries to hit it. I'll be honest, you're going to need probably a thinner pin to do this, because a real thick pin might give you a pain. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pin this in. And normally I wouldn't pin that much, but I really want my points to be as good as I can do them. So we're just going to do this side. When I get all that done, then I'll turn around and sew this side on. I'm not going to stop and show you this every time. I just wanted to show you how I handle it. So if you want to see that again, just rewind the video a little bit. And you will see me pinning and such as we're running. That I will continue to do. So let's just get started. And we're just going to do one block together. And then I'll chain piece the last 3 that I have left. I'm just going to go real slow, and I'm watching that I kind of cross right where those seams cross. I'm going to open them back up. So go ahead and have a look at that. Oh, there we go. Not bad. And put them where they need to be, in the direction they need to be, to make sure I don't mess anything up. I'm going to flip this on this side. This is our bottom, our top. It doesn't really matter. Let's see how our points came out. See, I think that came out pretty good. That side, pretty good. Okay, and then we got our top. This one here really doesn't make me any difference. It's whatever direction it wants to press in is the direction I'll press in it. It looks like these want to go to the inside and these want to go to the outside. So this middle will go to the inside, and these top and bottom I'll press to the outside. So we will have locking points here and here, and here and here. Oh, see, I got that one upside down. But we will also have to watch this center point. So how am I going to do that? I'm going to pin. I'm going to start with the center point. And there we go. So they all came out really good doing it like that. My next step is I'm going to iron this. I am going to press these seams open. After I do that, we'll be ready to add the outer edges of this block. Okay, so I pressed my seams open, and I think it just lays flatter that way. So that's what I want. Okay, guys, so this is just 3 rows. We're going to put this row together, and this row together. When we cross here, it would be, I'm going to sew from the back side so I can see where these cross to try to keep my tips. But other than that, and again, we will be pressing toward the light side on all of our blocks. I don't know if you can see, but right here, I know it's very dark, the fabric, but where this fabric goes in, it actually is my point. Where the light fabric hits the dark fabric right there. So that's the place I'm aiming for to hit with my needle so that my point shows on the other side. Okay, so let me flip this back over. This one's a little low, but it's there. This one is right perfect. So I'm not gonna mess with that. I'm happy with that. And now we're just gonna sew the other side. Oh, those both came out really good. Okay, so I'm going to go over here and press towards the light. That'll give me lock-in seams at the top and bottom. And when I get that done, then we will sew the top row to the bottom, to the middle, and the bottom row to the middle. The top and the bottom, that's all that's got to go on. But guys, I am going to do a little pinning on this one, okay? I don't want it slipping. I don't want to mess anything up. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to lock that in place. And I am going to put a pin there. Then I'm going to lock this one in place. For some reason, just for me, it has nothing to do with other people. Yours may be perfect. A lot of times, I match at that top one, but this bottom one for some reason is off on me. So I feel like if I just take the time to pin, I won't have a problem. And then I am going to sew from the back side probably so I can see my crossovers. So I probably should move that pin to the other side. Those both came out really good. Let's look at the other side. This right one on this side looks a little better than the one on this side, but still, they look good. So I'm just going to press this. Okay, now it's time to talk about the second block in the quilt. And this is the pumpkin block itself. This is a very simple block to make. The other one had a lot of matches and points and all that kind of stuff. This one really has no matches. Nothing matches. You can see here when you snowball these corners, they don't have to match anywhere. Add the 2 sides, no matches. This, no matches. This is just simple sewing. So this block's going to go really quick. All right, let's look at the parts of this block. I'm going to just work on one with you right now, and then if you're doing this, I would definitely go ahead and chain pieces. So this is our first step. To take a G and an E, or 4 E's, 2. And because they don't overlap, you can just keep going. You don't have to worry about that. And they can all be sewn on, and then they can be trimmed. Now, all we did was draw a diagonal line from corner to corner to have a line to sew on. If by chance you happen to have a line marked on your sewing machine and you don't need that, then don't do it. You know, you don't have to draw the diagonal line. It's not a law, just the way I do it. Just make sure you get them lined up. But even in that, let me show you here. Even if you were off a little bit, it wouldn't matter because this doesn't line up with anything else. So it's a pretty simple block. One little tip to help with this is go slow. This first couple stitches, because you don't, so it doesn't kind of eat up in there. If you go kind of slow, it usually won't eat your fabric. So here we go. This is all four corners sewn. All we're going to do is we're going to take, if we can find our rotary cut, oh, right here. We're going to take our ruler that has our 1/4 inch line marked. We're going to put it down on the sewn line, the 1/4 inch line on the sewn line, and we're just going to go around and trim all four corners. Now I will be pressing these outward. You can press them outward, inward, or open. It makes no difference on this pattern which way you do it. It's just easier for me to press outward, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to set this to the side for a moment. The next thing we're going to do is we are going to get a B and an F. And we're going to sew them together lengthwise. I think I'm going to do it this way. It doesn't matter. Just the way my brain pictures something. 1/4 inch seam. Again, it does not matter which way. I'm just going to trim that red off there. You press this seam open to the light or to the dark. It has no bearing on this particular block. So do it however you want. I'm going to probably press mine open. Okay, guys, I'm going to take just a moment here and I'm going to press these seams and I'll be back and we'll just go ahead and do all the construction of the block. Okay, I did press this one open and I pressed these to the outside. So now it's just a matter of assembling. So this is the D block. We're going to put this across the bottom. Okay, let me get all this over here where I can pull it off and show y'all. This is the C block. It's going to go on both sides here of our pumpkin. And then we have our A. And we're going to need 2 of those. We should need 2 C's, 2 A's, and 1 D. Set this away out of the way. And these will go here on either side, okay? The only thing is you want the dark towards the pumpkin because that's supposed to represent the stem. Other than that, I'm just going to chain sew. I'm going to sew the A to this unit. I'm going to sew the C to this unit. And then I'm going to turn around and quickly sew the A to the other side of this unit and the other C to the other side of this unit. Then I will take just a moment and press. Once I press, we're just going to sew the top to the middle and the bottom to the middle and completely finished. Okay, we're back here and everything is all pressed and all we got to do now is sew this. Nothing matches. It's just top and bottom. That's all you got to match. Only thing is make sure your dark is next to your pumpkin. Okay, I'm going to get this one pressed and I'm going to make the other two for the quilt, and then I will meet y'all up at the design wall. Okay, so there's all the blocks up on the wall. And I know it's a little strange colored, but you know, I think Midnight in the Pumpkin Patch is the perfect name for it. So I'm going to go ahead and use the darker edge. I have plenty of fabric left, and I like that. I'm cutting those borders at 2.5 inches. So guys, I'm just going to sew together all 3 rows, and then I'll sew the 3 rows together, and then I'll add the borders, and I'll be back. Well, guys, here it is all finished. It was real simple. Just sewing together 3 rows. What I decided to do was press towards the pumpkins on each row. That gave me locking joints at the corners, so that when I sewed it together, it went together quite easy. Then I just added borders, and I think it come out quite nice. I know the colors are a little bright, electrifying. I love these two together and just needed to make something. I thought, why not make something called Midnight in the Pumpkin Patch? I thought that would be fun, so here we go. Well, all the information on how to make the box is included somewhere in the video, but I'll also put it here at the end so you can catch it if you didn't catch it already. So guys, until I see y'all the next time, y'all be blessed, be safe, and always remember to be yourself. Bye.